Now I can't stay too long for
That's fine.
stuff. I've got early physical therapy tomorrow.
I have to ask, how was your first session within the Dancing Hut of Baba Yaga? What did you all think?
Oh, I'm loving every bit of this. I love this kind of stuff. This is like this is my favorite.
I am a big fan of the randomness of the weird dungeon where each chamber is its own self-contained piece of madness.
I love puzzles.
I would have preferred if there was no mold and or much.
Yeah.
I tried to make it more
about that.
I tried to make it more like mushroomy and licheny rather than mold. Like there were some there were some aerial spores I was supposed to describe, but like I decided against that.
Like at that point, you should have been a hard port to like flowers or something.
It doesn't matter. There's I've recently listen. I love you, internet. I love you, but there are so many fucking mushroom pictures that I keep seeing, and I hate them.
That's fair.
I understand the cottagecore aesthetic is big right now, and y'all motherfuckers like mushroom hats and stuff, but like fucking stop, okay? Stop.
Or at least properly tag it.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, it gives me like bad touch.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
I knew too much about the first room to really feel okay doing anything.
Yeah,
we appreciate your restraint.
No, I live with our DM.
Yeah, and sometimes I have to talk about things, or else I don't keep them straight in my own head. I'm finding other people to do that with, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but just in case if anybody's like, oh, Em didn't talk a lot. Yeah, it's because Em was like, I know how to beat this, and I don't want to be that. I don't want to look. I'm already playing a paladin.
No, I feel like we're doing pretty good so far.
Which is why I didn't touch it.
we charisma persuasioned the cat with treats and scritches, and then we solved the rainbow puzzle without damaging the objects, and we talked our way past the mushroom farmers, and now maybe we have a chance to just talk to this pit fiend. We'll see who swings or talks first.
We have one item marked off the list if what Nathan thinks it is correct. She does not know what a blood pudding creature is. In fact, I don't know what a blood pudding creature is.
Black pudding, but yes.
Black pudding. I can 100% do a black pudding.
It's an ooze.
I love it. No, I love it.
I don't know how, if it is the monster, I don't know how the fuck we're supposed to capture it.
Baba Yaga could be so impressed that she actually brought her magical blood pudding.
I imagine that the module has a specific mechanic in mind, but
it also probably has a specific location, and it's like already in a container for all we know.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. As someone who has played a lot of Adventures League, back in, was it 2018 or something, like black puddings were the standard monster to throw at people, and so I fought a lot of them.
It might not even be like puddings in general, regardless of color. We're just like, hey, so it's either rats or puddings. What do you want, babe?
Yeah.
Well, they wanted like a monster that the characters wouldn't try to negotiate with, and an ooze and a pudding are one of those.
So I like my solution. I want to actually offer a black pudding to Baba Yaga so bad.
Jen, for like a visual, think like flubber.
Yeah. I can see it in my head, certainly.
And I was listening a little bit, but Charlotte wouldn't know it, of whether or not there was an apple depicted on one of the tapestries, and we could have plucked that. But
I thought about asking about that, but
we're not gonna solve all of your problems in the first couple of rooms,
right?
Okay,
and so
but what if we did though?
Charlotte at least is like, even if we don't get the list done, she is trying to a little bit speed run through these to get to Baba Yaga, because all of this stuff here is fascinating, and if they can help people, that's cool. But their mission is to assess and talk to Baba Yaga, so that's her priority right now. And she's a little wary that note's not actually from her.
Yeah, Like that is a real possibility.
I will say that the statue puzzle would have been a lot easier if you had left Warmbo alive, but I had no illusions that was going to happen. And in fact, I'm really glad, because it means that I don't have to do that voice for very long. Now,
he also hates Warmbo, see?
One thing though that I want to make sure that I throw to you all is that teleportation between the planes is not possible within this hut. So when Warmbo reconstitutes, it's not going to be in the Abyss or the Nine Hells. It's going to be somewhere else in the hut.
Yep, and that'll be a problem for someone else. Or someone else, because if it's a problem for us, it becomes another dead Warmbo.
I love the Warmbo character because A, you're responding to him exactly like you're supposed to, but B, he has never been anything other than, with the exception of once trying to sting you, he got a little bit too excited. He's been very, very like excited to see you and so happy, and he wrote a best friend song and then immediately decapitated.
We have never heard this song because we kill him before he delivers it.
I do like how he's like, hey, Swoops, my man, what's up? Starts saying some sort of name, and Swoops is like, kill him. This guy's so annoying.
Come on, even Maven knew to go back away from Warmbo. She doesn't know that much.
Look, it's Felt. Felt is evil.
I've been waiting to bring Warmbo back for years now.
We know.
Because you brought up when we were in Waterdeep, there was just a quick like reference to him.
Rumors.
Yeah, like rumors of a terrifying, horrible, and very annoying demon haunting Waterdeep.
So what I wish is, because when I said I think she keeps me here for my eggs. And one person was like, that is so much more information than I wanted. And if anyone had said, wait, you can make eggs, he would have been like, oh yes, Warmbo can make you lots of eggs. Just let Warmbo free. I'll make you all the eggs you want.
No.
See, Warmbo mentioning eggs and eggs that Warmbo produces makes me hate Warmbo more.
I'm over here being like, I don't consent to listening to this voice. No.
I mentioned that I discovered that I'm terrified of puppets, right? By being commissioned to make a puppet and going through the stages of making this Muppet. It was a replica Muppet I was making, and went through all the stages and was almost completely done with it. Edward comes upstairs, my husband, and goes, oh, it's almost done. Puts his hand in the puppet, starts talking out the mouth, and suddenly I was not having it. It went from just a random piece of fabric that had, been kind of creepily scalped a few times to the most terrifying thing in existence. I'm like, take that fuck off your hands right now.
There's the games. One of the games that I run on the side, we have exactly one line in the whole game, and it's fucking puppets. Just like if puppets or dolls show up, it's a hard no, and that's the only line that we have besides like the common sense shit.
Jen, when Warmbo first showed up and you were Clarion, you didn't know about him, but you have in the interim you have learned where Warmbo comes from.
I listened to that show now. Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Some more news. Very, very good.
Warmbo
isn't in every episode, but
no. In fact, they and the thing is, Cody is the name of the guy that does the voice, but also the name of the guy that interacts with Warmbo, and he's always called Mr. Cody. So like Mr. Calder was just the perfect stand-in. So that's why he attached to Calder specifically.
Wondering if the dude that was. Oh boy. I was wondering if the dude who wound up being Alvin
was his name, yes.
Was actually Cody. Like for a moment, I was like, is Cody in the back there, Philip?
Would have been fun.
For a moment, I wondered.
No.
Like that would be something that Rob would do, but
my money was going to be Erky Timbers inexplicably on another adventure and regretting it.
Erky swore off adventuring when he got done with the Summer of Citadel. It's like,
We get a lot of people swearing off adventuring around us.
Well, and I like-
Well,
why.
maybe that's because they're taking the smart way out.
I love.
he got locked in a room for an unspecified amount of time, watching each of the people he came in adventuring with be hauled away by goblins, never to return. So that would turn a lot of people off of adventuring.
I like the fact that the Baba Yaga hut is full of situations that don't have anything to do with the player characters, where like things are just happening in the hut and you just sort of happen to be moving through them on your way to your goal. And that's something I'm really, really trying to work hard on, is make it look and feel like this is a living, breathing place that has shit that goes on behind the scenes and that you're just kind of trying to maneuver through it. And that's different than a lot of dungeons, right? A lot of dungeons
I
are
love
set
it.
up specifically to be a place for adventurers to explore. This
Right, like
is
every nook and cranny, every chest, all that sort of stuff. We're not here to like.
like you're in a city right now, and you, the different parts of the city have their own purpose, and you're beginning to see a little bit of Baba Yaga's malfeasance. Right, you're seeing a little bit about her not caring about what happens to people. You're seeing a little bit about her like being cruel to her pets. Like you're beginning to see a little bit of it, but for the most part, it's still wacky Alice in Wonderland bullshit, and I love it.
And again, let's not forget the fact that she eats children.
She does. She absolutely eats children. That is one of the things that is literally like core canon for Baba Yaga.
Can I mention Maven still feels a bit like she's mostly in a fairy tale, and that's why she's reacting? Wait, so like
That little bit of a distinction.
intellectually, she knows that maybe Mistress Baba Yaga eats children, but like only a little. Like she's definitely not reacting to any of this, I think, the way that she possibly should be.
She wasn't thinking very hard about the oven she was using to cook.
Nope,
The stuff
not at
might have
all.
also.
She's like, wonderful magical oven. We're in a magical house. Of course the oven's going to be magical. She wouldn't even think that would be where children would be eaten, especially when she heard the word kitchen, because then she's like, well, certainly this is not where cooking usually happens, but it just happens to be a really useful oven. You know, it keeps the room warm.
I mean, I am having
does that
thoughts
too.
now about.
I said it does that too.
Yeah?
I'm having thoughts
Yeah?
now about the up room from the kitchen of where food comes from. If the orchard might be there.
Possibly. I
Right.
mean, let's
Depends
be
on the type
honest.
of food.
Intelligence is her dump stat.
Hey, we have a way. All else fails, we do have a way out of here. So.
That's true. You do. I think that's a pretty good time for us to do our quick wrap up. I know, Jen, you said you wanted to go pretty quick, and I know, Em, you are extraordinarily tired.
Extraordinarily tired.
So let's start with the two people who are tired and hungry. Jen, what's something you had particular fun with, and what's a player character that you think gets inspiration?
I really absolutely love the rainbow puzzle. Again, because it does remind me of like an Alan D. Foster book a little bit, and just that's the kind of puzzle kind of crap I love, like that kind of stuff. Like,
The rainbow puzzle did not have a solution in the module. I came up with the idea of overlapping all of the colors using some way or another.
love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
It was a lot of fun.
So much. Inspiration, I'm going to have to say, is going to go to who?
Everyone was amazing tonight. Like everyone was spectacular.
Amazing. Yeah. I'm trying to think about who pokes at me the most. Honestly, I'm going to inspire M for having to suffer through the fungi room.
I got
I
into
agree.
it a little bit, and then I had to leave. It was bad.
Yeah, I
No,
know
that's fair.
I know
fair.
for you, like mold, especially mold in the food, is a problem, and I was hoping that like fantasy mushrooms wouldn't be as much of an issue. But I should have checked with you ahead of time.
Yeah, I could handle the the stuff with. So I can handle spores as spores, but the word fungus repeated as often as it was is what did it.
Gotcha.
Fungus.
Yeah.
It's like moist.
If you end up back in there, I'll go with mushrooms instead of fungus.
The lichen room.
Yeah, lichen I could deal with probably.
I'm liking that room.
Mushrooms even is kind of like pushing it.
Gotcha.
It's stupid. It's stupid brain stuff.
No, it's totally
not
fair,
We
and that's
all have our stupid brain stuff.
It is
There's
not
nothing
based
wrong
on
with
reason.
stupid
It
brain
doesn't
stuff.
need to be justified.
that's why we have safety tools, right? That's why we have the ability to step back. If you had wanted us to move on from there, we could have done a quick hand wave. But you were very kind enough to be like, I'm just going to step back and let you all finish the scene. There could have been combat there. It would have been probably trivially easy combat, but like, yeah, that could have happened, and I'm glad that I'm glad that the tools are working. M, why don't you tell us what a thing that you had particular fun with, and what's a player character you want to give a shout out to?
Cool, Warm, that was good for me. I would say I'm gonna give my shout out stuff probably to Jeff, since he did a lot of the legwork and pretty much everything from what I could tell. Which means that I'm glad that he's getting airtime and stuff, and I think that he deserves a point for having airtime, and that it can help him get more of it.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Jeff, why don't you go ahead and go next?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with the session. I love puzzles, and figuring out the light overlap and the elemental resonance felt good, but I do love Gail's option for how do we hit the magic of the blind one.
I realized that I have a scroll for that.
In a pinch, I have eye bite. So I could have hit it with something that makes blindness, but I didn't want to use a level 6 spell, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So good though.
If I had looked and seen, because I knew that Dell had the scroll, but if I had looked and seen that Calder had eye bite and Dell had a scroll, I would not have let the blind touching thing work. But it was so clever. It was so clever. Like, okay, so I'm blind. This thing blinds people. Like, let's see if we vibe. And since it was the last one, it made sense to me. And I'm a big fan of setting up puzzles that don't necessarily have one specific solution.
Can I make a... Sorry, I'm cutting all y'all people up. Can I make a tiny note? Rob put a bunch of stuff on my character sheet that I did not look at.
Yes.
You just now finding it all?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, all of you should make sure you know what's in your inventory, because there's a lot of puzzles that will rely on weird stuff that you've got. Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. Okay.
And I do like the Baba Yaga stuff, because how much we are able to dismantle all of this dumb plot by not being so quick to pull the trigger and being willing to talk to the things around us is solving a lot of our problems before they become problems. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to bite us in the ass, but
I mean, not everything here has your best interest in mind, right? And not everything here can be reasoned with. There will be times when you're just going to have to fight, and there will be times when you're just going to have to flee. But up to this point, yeah, being like, let's talk, except with Warmbow, being like, let's talk has been very beneficial to you.
Yep.
And did you give me a shout out?
I shouted out Gail for the
gotcha.
For the blind.
for the blindness resonance.
That's right. And speaking of Gail, I like how it tends to flow one into the other. It works really well. Gail, what did you have particular fun with, and who do you want to shout out?
I don't know if anyone caught this little moment. I alluded to it slightly when we got into the second room, but the fact that Charlotte was specifically not interacting with the cat with Vladimir, because she knows that cats are in kitchens and houses to keep pests and vermin out, and she is literally carrying a demon of pests and vermin with her. And so when they got past it, and she's like, "Wow, that was a shitty guard cat." Like that was what she was. That's why she was staying in the background for that scene and not really trying to like pet the cat and get past it. So like,
if there had been a moment when the cat wasn't being like distracted by brushes and pets and treats, yeah, probably would have jumped up after swoops at some point.
Yeah, but it's like that. I had that little tiny fun moment, which I think went mostly under the radar, which is great. In addition to all of the stuff everybody else has also mentioned from this, I'm going to give my shout out to Jeff, because especially in that first room, like I definitely like how you're playing into Calder's, like you didn't jump immediately into giving the cat everything that it wanted. Calder was a little cautious, a little like trying to bargain with it first, and like I'm very interested to see that side of Calder come out. These aren't lords and kings and politicians he can just sweet talk or ignore. He's trying to find out what the level of like reasoning with people versus like having to fight people here. And I really liked that moment of role play, like getting to see Calder in this new situation.
Yeah, definitely. And
felt good.
For my part, like again, I love watching all of you react to this fairy tale nonsense, and like it's gonna get dark, but so far it's been pretty okay, right? It's like the first part of Gulliver's Travels where it's just little people, and he's like, hey, look, I'm gonna help you out. You're little people. This is pretty cool, and then it
Children
gets dark
eating
later,
aside.
right? And there are little hints here, and I love watching Maven like really be the maternal, like the matron essentially. Like
snacks.
you are going to eat and we're not moving on until you eat. And I thought that was amazing. And I agree with Calder's always been a good negotiator. And it's going to be interesting to see how he does when he starts going up against things that are more powerful than he is, like this pit fiend. It's going to be very interesting to see how that affects the dynamic, because a lot of the time with Calder, anytime he is in a negotiation with some other being, he at least has the ability to step to that being. Maybe he won't beat it, but he can at least bloody it. But like a pit fiend will reduce you to paste in one round.
I'm just saying, like being in a room full of nobles, it is a big confidence booster knowing that you have the ability of just turning anyone in that room into goo.
Yes.
So
that's not true in the hut.
And
it's not always true, but it's true a lot of the time.
Charlotte is of course rolling ridiculously well on Arcana checks and figuring out exactly how things work. And I am sort of keeping a tally of you know how various video games have reputation for various factions, right? And like there are factions within the hut. Baba Yaga is one of them. The hut itself is another. And like it's interesting to see, like, okay, so you do this thing, and I have to think about, okay, so how does Baba Yaga react to that? How does the hut react to that? How do other factions that you haven't necessarily engaged with, how will they react to that if they figure it out? It's very much a political game as well as a dungeon crawl, and I'm looking forward to it.
So what you're saying is, if we put enough ranks into it, we can establish friendship with the tank?
The tank, maybe. I don't think you have fuel for it.
It
That's
is
the
a
problem.
Nazi tank.
It is a Nazi
okay.
tank. That is true.
Maybe
Baba
not.
Yaga is now canonically a collector of Nazi memorabilia, which we all know is a massive red flag. I'm sure she's just interested for the historical value.
I'm willing to say that that red flag is beneath eating children.
Yeah.
But
Not
Happens
too
to
far.
have a
but I
Nazi
will
symbol
say,
on it.
sure, we'll add that red flag to the list.
Not too far beneath.
And I love how Dell mostly keeps to himself until it's time to not. Like he's just kind of observing and just making sure everything's fine. Like, this is fine, this is normal, this place is kind of unusual, but it's fine. But there's a fucking fiend there in a cage, I'm gonna fucking kill it.
That seed for later role play of my wife and my daughter is like, oh, Like I'm an uncle. I'm an actual uncle of like not some prostitute's bastard made by Anton.
Yeah, the like my wife, my daughter. What?
And I'm gonna go
As soon as
ahead.
we get to a long rest, we're talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna and it's coming up on nighttime. Well, nighttime, quote unquote. Time is meaningless within the hut, but like it's been 12 to 14 hours since you have rested, so it's gonna happen sometime in the next few hours, probably. But I am gonna go ahead and give the inspiration to Jeff because I feel like A, you made excellent use of it, and B, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the negotiation with another devil works out, especially if you decide to reveal your own lineage. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
That's because like I'm also remembering like pit fiends are not part of the same hierarchy as Glacis, so that would be that could either go very, very well or very, very poorly.
Also, let's just remember, he walks in asking how we like the exhibit. Like
So let's play out like that's my thought as well. We'll get to that when we get to the session.
And with
he
that,
doesn't
friends,
want to talk about demon hierarchies. Maybe he
let's-
wants to talk about the art.
let's go ahead and say our goodbyes. I'm going to start with Jen. Why don't you go ahead and give us a very, very quick overview of where people can find you and follow you?
At Swedish Geekball on Facebook, on Twitch, although I haven't streamed in a little while, and on YouTube.
And I believe T-Geekball on Twitter, although Twitter is a sinking ship.
No, I'm not on Twitter anymore.
Fair
I'm
enough.
sorry. Twitter is
I'll have to
terrible.
change that for the next art reel then.
Yeah, no, I don't handle Twitter. I am on the threads, mostly for the lulz at this point. But
And all of the product placement.
yeah, and that's really the main reason is because I do intend to start posting some art there. It was the only
Hell
reason
yeah.
I was on Twitter.
Hell yeah.
And it's linked to Imager, so that helps me remember to freaking post on Imager.
As an
which I'm
unrelated
really
note
bad
about Threads, if you ever try to delete it,
it
you are
takes away
also-
your Imagers. Yeah, I know.
you're also forced to delete your Instagram.
Instagram, not Imager. Yes, I'm sorry. I kept saying Imager, but I mean
Completely.
Instagram. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah,
I know that.
It's
Yeah.
not just for you; it's for them.
Yeah, that's a PSA for everybody. If you're going to get into Threads, just know that you're going to stay there or you're going to lose out on Instagram. Jeff,
But-
where
but
can people
speaking-
find you and follow you?
I am. You can find me and my art. I haven't posted in a long time because of reasons. But like I still have stuff posted on Instagram and TikTok at Still Tired and Angry. Recently, I have signed up to Mastodon. So
Very nice. Also still tired and angry?
also at Still Tired and Angry.
Perfect.
So.
Love it. Em, where can folks find you?
I'm on all the places that I exist on as One Silver Key. If you see One Silver Key, it's probably me.
Excellent. And finally, Gail, where can folks experience you and especially your artwork?
I exist on Tumblr at a measure of separation.
Oh, look at the little so the little skulls
little
look
skulls
like the little
on
nature
Yaga.
spirits from
cute.
Princess Mononoke a little bit.
Oh, they do look like Kodamas.
Yes. But yeah, come see me
They
on
look like
Tumblr
little
for fic, for animatics, for other shit.
And you can find
Whether
me.
or not it's canon.
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter and Blue Sky at Math Demigod, although I'm not really doing the Blue Sky thing a lot. It's kind of empty, it turns out. And I will be staying on the Twitter ship until the waters close over my head. Folks, thank you very, very much. We're going to be back in 2 weeks, which is what? Hold
It'll
on.
be after my birthday.
I'm looking it up.
Happy
We're
birthday!
in August.
2 weeks is
The
the
first.
1st of August. Yes, the 1st of August. I'm going to desperately between now and then make sure I know what the rest of the rooms look like. And we're going to continue this. Thank you very much for watching. Please do check out youtube.com/gamingmathematically if you want to get the VODs of this. And we will see you in a couple of weeks. I'm going to say it one more time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
I want to go through the museum with the pit fiend.